be agile?
Henry was having a meltdown. He had tried to be agile all his life. But being agile is not about using kanban boards or storyboards. He tried everything possible. He hated the Gantt charts after a while, even though that wasn't the problem. The problem was that Henry did not understand what agility meant until agileprinciple.com presented a perfect opportunity for Agile Core Navigation certification training, coupled with the PMI-ACP Bootcamp training. And that's where he ran into Phil and Roy.
When I first started out in my Agile journey, I did the exact same thing, Phil. I went off, I got my CSM. Right, first thing I did, I heard this Agile thing. It was, really interesting. And I've been practicing not well for a little bit and then went for my first certification. Came out of that 2-day class and taking my 50-question test or whatever it was for the CSM. It's like, I know everything. I'm good, right? Then I went off and I ran a project and it was just such a miserable failure. It was just absolutely atrocious. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. And what I had forgotten was that, certifications are good. Knowledge is good. Going to the classes are good. But it's the real experience, right? Actually practicing and failing. Those are the things that really make you good at what you're doing. So I failed a lot. It's like, and through those failures, you learn how to do it right. You learn what not to do. And you just, real strength, real courage is failing and then picking yourself up, dusting it off and, going and doing it again and maybe, risk failure again. And we just keep doing that. And that's how we learn and that's how we get better. And that's hopefully what we can inspire everyone on these sessions to really think about is that you are all lifelong learners, every single one of you. And you need to continue doing that. You're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. And that should be celebrated. All of our failures should be celebrated. So Phil, there's my introduction. Really excited about our session today. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Roy. Good deal. So Roy, I would like us to start off. We've already heard from the awesome folks on this call. I'd like us to start off by, first of all, socializing Agile basics. Because, people read the Agile Manifesto in different ways. So we can take about, 5 minutes to go over the Agile Manifesto for the sake of anyone who may be watching after the fact. Just give them the high level. So we already know the story of the 17 people who are fed up of doing things the laborious way, the waterfall way, if you will. But again, remember, waterfall doesn't necessarily mean predictive, because PMI doesn't use the word predictive and waterfall synonymously. If you take a look at the waterfall model, the actual model from Rolls-Royce, they are feedback loops. So there's a difference between, linear versus some feedback loops, which are good. But these 17 people were fed up. So they met at Utah. They went to the ski resort. They had skiing, food, things guys do. It's funny, there were no ladies there, Roy.
Not a single one. Yep. Maybe I probably should have had a couple.
They should have. It might have helped them balance up. But anyway, the 17 of them, they ended up putting together the Agile Manifesto as we know it today. So going down to agilemanifesto.org to find the details. But the summary is through this work that they were doing, they had come to value. It said, we're uncovering better ways of developing product by doing it and helping others do it. So your mind needs to be curious and continuously uncovering better ways, because there's always a better mousetrap after you've built the next mousetrap. Just remember that. So we're uncovering better ways of developing products. Roy changed that word in our presentation that you guys have seen to product, because it's not all about the software, is it, Roy? There are other things other than software.
It's the stuff you're building, whether it's software or not, right? It's just products.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you should always look for better ways of developing your product, because there's always, for example, we would do things before AI without AI. Now there's AI as a course developer. I use AI to help me out, to frame my thinking. So there's always a better way, always a better mousetrap. But through this work, it said they have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Work in product over comprehensive documentation. Note I said work in product, not work in software, because again, learning from Roy, it's more than software these days, more than hardware. It's more than, the funny thing is I hear a lot of people saying, well, I'm an engineer. I don't know how do you even apply Agile? And I'm like, you're getting it wrong. It's in the mindset. It's in the values. If you have the values, that's your true north. And then you can apply the values and the principles and stop thinking you need Jira or Confluence or version one or Azure DevOps. You don't need those things to practice being agile. So through this work, we've come to value individuals' interactions over processing tools, working product over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. So even though there's value in the items on this side, we value the items on this side more. So Roy, give us your quick high-level humanistic take on the Agile Manifesto values.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing to recognize in the values and in the manifesto in general is the word agile is nowhere in it. The word scrum is nowhere in it. All we're really talking about is values and principles. So
Mm,
if we want to kind of look at the manifesto as a whole, it's not about practice, it's not about tooling, it's not about all of those things that are valuable for us. We value tools; those are really important to us, but it's much more about how we think about doing work, how we think about working with others, how we think about working with our customers. It's more about those things. Let me say it this way. I've been around for a little while. So back in the '80s, I was a software developer, and back then our practices were a little bit lighter. It was, we'd have our customers sitting next to us, we'd talk with them. The rest of our team members would be in small rooms together, and we would just work together, right? And we didn't do everything right. We had some QA, some quality problems. We didn't do everything correctly, but at least that whole interaction of just working together in close groups, small groups of people, getting our customers involved early and often, we had that. And then somehow we lost it, right? Somehow or another, we went the other direction, and that was all take this work and hand it over to this group of people, then over to that group of people. So we just lost that personal human connection with the people that are asking for the work, the people that are doing the work, and it caused us so many failures, so many problems. So it's the manifesto is all about getting back to the basics of people doing work, people requesting work. It's human beings, it's the interactions. And if we just put process together that don't remember, that don't factor in the human aspect, that what, sometimes people have a bad day. Sometimes
mm,
people are emotional, right? Sometimes people are reacting in a way you don't expect them to. Maybe somebody doesn't have enough coffee or whatever it is. It could be a lot of different reasons. Humans are not as predictable as we would like them to be when we're thinking about these predictive kind of approaches, right? So factor in the human being, factor in the emotions, factor in the psychology of the individuals, and bring that in. And now you've got a much more humanistic approach. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about understanding each other. It's about giving people space to figure out how to do their jobs and how to do it well and how to interact with others. That's what the manifesto is really all about. And it carries on even with the principles. You can see it in the
mm.
principles, all right? It's all about the human beings. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Roy. Great stuff. And honestly, a lot of this stuff Roy has shared is the anchor for your success on the ACP, because I know lots of you are preparing for the ACP. We've got the ACP book, which I know lots of you have got the downloadable version of. I'll just show it here for those who are looking after the fact. We have one of our friends, Aravind, who got the book off of Amazon. So, Aravind, we know you're going to be watching after the fact. Hope you're following along. But the book is great, but without the mindset, the book is inherently useless. So, what we want you to do is understand that your exam is heavily mindset driven. Now, the PMI made some changes very recently and included some more technical, almost hybridized looking stuff, maybe even going towards the predictive end. We're not enthused about that, but we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater because we know we've got about 50,000 people that are ACPs. So the reason why we're here is because we realized we can add value to people with or without the ACP. So we want you to understand it's all in the values and the principles. With what Roy has just said, the principles echo this. And I already know Roy's favorite principle is principle number one. Our highest priority is
Got it.
to satisfy the customer. Let's test these friends of ours out, Roy, because almost everyone on this call has done the PMP through us. So they should remember at least that simple principle. Can anyone tell us why our highest priority is to satisfy the customer and how? Give us some of your philosophy. Why? Why is your highest priority to satisfy the customer? And how does the principle say you will satisfy the customer? Does anyone remember?
We're going to satisfy the customer through increment delivery, so that we bring value sooner than later in the agile mindset framework.
I love that, Dee. And
Yeah.
Roy, she didn't parrot it off. She totally knows it internally.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just a rote statement. It was
Yeah,
you internalized that. You did a great job.
great job. Anyone else?
Um, so you're going to implement a philosophy of frequent delivery. You're going to show it to them. You're going to involve them directly. You're going to get shorten your development cycles. You're going to fail fast, and that way you're not delivering something 6 months down the line that was heavily planned up front, and it's not what they wanted. So I think you're incorporating more direct contact with the customer as a requirement in an agile framework. So that's how I would explain it.
Great.
This is Juru here. I
Yeah.
think that there's another very important aspect is the feedback loop. If you deliver early and frequent, you get more feedback from customers, so you can implement all those good ideas into the next delivery. That will increase the customer experience.
Exactly right. And Jared, that's a really important aspect of this. And I want to go back to something that Phil said earlier about how waterfall, as originally designed, was supposed to have feedback loops, right? We were supposed to have that built into it. It's not this massive 3-year kind of thing that you don't get feedback until you're about ready to deliver it, right? There were supposed to be feedback loops throughout the entire process. Had they actually done it that way, imagine what would have been different. Waterfall would have been much, much more prevalent. I mean, it's everywhere. We acknowledge that, but the whole concept of agile probably would have happened a lot sooner, right? And because it would have been a much more agile concept, right? So waterfall, I say this all the time. We do waterfall wrong, right? We should be building feedback loops into our waterfall processes, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I know number one is, it took me a while before it sunk in, why number one was Roy's favorite, but I'll allow Roy speak for himself. Roy, can you tell us why that one is your favorite?
Yeah, and there's kind of a hidden thing in there that satisfy the customer. To me, that's the most important. And absolutely, one of the ways that we do that is these, the early feedback loops and fail often and things like that, fail early, those kinds of things. That's valuable.
I want to be agile.
But we're going to take things up a notch and we're going into the world of the Agile Core Navigator. Let's jump straight into our presentation. Don't worry, we got the slides for you. We'll be giving you the slides and all that good stuff when we're done. But here we are speaking about the concept that has been cooking for a while. And Roy and I have been in our skunk works for many years talking about how to get this into a format that we can share with the world. So if you truly want to embark on an agile journey, this is the course for you. You'll learn our philosophies about how to navigate the agile terrain in a firm. You'll also learn how to use our agile maturity model tools, and you'll also prepare for the ACP exam. If this is of interest, go on down to agileprinciple.com. You'll get immediate access, and we'll love to hear how you succeed on your ACP exam. All the very best, and see you in the course.
I want to be agile.